This is James Mathers for the Digital Cinema Society at Cine Gear Expo 2024. I'm here with Dan Kanes and Scott Dewald from Atlas Lens Company. They're a new sponsor for Digital Cinema Society, so welcome, guys. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And
thanks for having us.
And you're all anamorphic. Tell us about the company. Tell us about your history.
Well, first of all, I'm a lover of films, and Scott and Forrest are co-founders of mine at Atlas, and you know, I got into anamorphic films from a young age, watching movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Raiders of the Lost Ark, but it wasn't until later in my life when I saw the fantastic movie Punch Drunk Love, and I was like, wow, why does this movie look this way? And I did some research and found out, hey, they used Panavision G series, E series, and C series anamorphic lenses. And I said, well, what does that mean? So it sent me on a deep rabbit hole. This is like almost 25 years ago of research, and cinematography is my passion. But, you know, getting to work with people like Scott is another huge pleasure and passion in my life. He's a brilliant engineer. He's the creator of DCI P3 color gamut. Just a brilliant and kind and humble guy.
Well, yeah, you didn't tell me any of that when we talked before.
When I signed up to the DCS, I think I mentioned it. But
wow,
yeah, that was back in the xenon lamp days. But we were doing shootouts with film at Paramount, and we couldn't make a couple of the teal and cyan colors, so we had to move the green color point. But with a xenon lamp, you had to throw away 20% of the yellow light. But eventually, we proposed something, and they accepted it.
And you were with Texas Instruments?
That was the Texas Instruments when we were doing the digital cinema development.
That was at the heyday, or the I would say the start of digital cinema.
Yeah, without projection,
yeah,
we'd still be doing everything on film.
And there's kind of like a poetic twist to that in a way that, you know, back 25 years ago, I couldn't access anamorphic lenses as a cinematographer to shoot films, but they were retiring anamorphic projection lenses because they were moving to digital projection. And so I'd see these lenses for like $40 or $50 on eBay. And I thought, well, you know, why can't I take one of these projector lenses and hack it onto my stills camera? Because I didn't even have a cinema camera. I had a Minolta XT1000 film camera. I said, I want to shoot stills that look like my favorite movie, Punch Drunk Love. And I whacked that projector lens on the front of my stills camera. I had to focus both of the lenses independently, but I managed to take portraits of my friends, and then we'd scan the negatives and then de-squeeze them. But, you know, if you think about it, it's a poetic circle because he's figuring out how to make those decommissioned with digital projection, and then they are coming into my hands through eBay. And then 20 years later, we started working together, and we're changing the world of cinematography, making new anamorphic cinema taking lenses for digital and film cameras. So, you know, what I like to think about for Atlas is we are trying to bridge the past and the future of cinematography. That's really our goal, is to create a bridge between the best of the past and create the best possible future for cinematographers, in the hands of cinematographers and people who love movies and images.
Wow, it's a really interesting history. Tell us about some of the products you have now. It's all anamorphic, I believe, right?
Oh yeah, it's all anamorphic.
We do have a pretty crazy accessory we just came out with, which is sitting in my lap, but I'll talk about sort of the first products that Scott designed with us.
Well, the Orion series.
The Orion series, yeah, which are an incredible traditional 2x squeeze anamorphic lens. So we wanted to make something that was a traditional CinemaScope style lens, just like in the 1950s. You know, we're here at Warner Brothers. They shot movies like Rebel Without a Cause. They licensed the lenses from 20th Century Fox. And we're actually showcasing a Bosch & Lomb CinemaScope Baltar that was used on Rebel Without a Cause in our booth on a modern digital camera. So you'll have to come by and take a look at that later, or if there's B-roll for this, I don't know. But you know, we wanted to make a traditional lens but usable for modern people. And Scott did some really brilliant things in terms of making the first three Orions, the 40mm, 65, and 100. And we were the first people making affordable and accessible cinematography lenses that would span the gap between film and digital.
Yeah, the keys to the Orion series, of course, we had modern glasses. There was a lot of glasses that didn't exist back in the days, in the 60s and 70s. We have coatings that didn't exist back then. So we were able to take advantage of these newer technologies to still pay homage to the G series, essentially, right? Was what we were shooting for.
G series, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's even some kinds of glass that you can't use anymore, right? Because of
Yeah, if you were to,
environmental
drop one of
purposes.
these, one of the vintage Panavisions, most of those glasses have lead in them, and most of them are not made anymore. There's a few for medical purposes, but generally not.
So tell us about Orion. And I think you have another series, right?
Yeah, so the Orion series is a very mature product family now. We started with 3 lenses, but we now have 12 lenses in the range. So we have the world's widest shipping anamorphic lens, which is an 18 millimeter T2. So we've got an 18, a 21, a 25, a 28, a 32, a 40, a 50, a 65, an 80, a 100, a 135, and a 200. So it's very full product family.
Full product line.
And then we have the Mercury series, which are our newest and entirely very unique group of anamorphic lenses, which have a 36, a 42, 54, 72, 95, and 138. And these are designed to be excellent on film and digital again, but they have a 1.5 anamorphic squeeze instead of 2 times. And we chose that because it gives you a wider variety of delivery aspect ratios. So as most of your viewers probably know, anamorphic lenses were created to create a panoramic field of view on a square strip of film, but the reason we love them now is that they have amazing aesthetic qualities and a unique field of view performance style that really lets you compose images in a different way.
The Atlas lenses actually have their small size is actually enabled by a technology that we at Atlas invented and have patented. Well, patent is pending, but you can see it on the patent website. So that enables this. We call it the Mercury focusing system, and it's adaptable to a lot of different lenses, and it doesn't add a lot of bulk to it, especially for a 1.5 squeeze. So we see a lot of future potential using the Mercury anamorphic focusing system.
And you say you have some kind of an adapter that you've developed?
Yeah, this is our recent announcement, so you're some of the first people to see this. We just debuted it at Cine Gear 2024. This is the world's first PL mount to PL mount focal reducer, or what some people call a speed booster. Yeah. And this is based on some design studies Scott started with our team and I a few years ago. And you're effectively taking a full frame image circle and squeezing it down to a super 35 format, so it's about a factor of 0.7, and you gain a stop of light by doing that. But you might be looking at this thing and saying, hey, that looks huge. That's the only way that we could achieve it optically. And then some of your viewers may remember things like depth of field adapters, which we all used in the early days of digital to try to achieve
were terrible.
Yeah, they were. But this is much better than that. Yeah. But effectively, you're gaining a stop of light transmission, and you can use this across basically any lens and any sensor. So
how fast is the lens to start with?
The input lens that we're showing right now is a Mercury 36 millimeter, and it's a T2.2, so you're gaining extra stop, so it's about a T1.8 or yeah.
That's fast for anamorphic.
Quite fast. And there's so many applications for this product, actually. We're really excited about the frontiers of what this can do. So it's such a new concept. No one's ever made a PL mount to PL mount focal reducer before. And we have enough space in here to do all kinds of really insane things, and we're opening it to the aftermarket. So people can modify it and do their own customizations to it. You can put different inputs, so you can have mirrorless camera lenses, maybe even. So, first time you could put a Sony E-mount lens.
Mirrorless to PL.
Yeah, you could put a Sony E-mount lens on a reflex camera. And the future is wide open, as they say.
It's very exciting technology. Thank you so much, guys, for sitting down with us and tell us about your company.
Such a pleasure. Thank you to have.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks. Are you rolling? Oh, yeah. All right. You can edit this in. Cinematographer walks into a bar. As he gets up close to the bar, what does the bartender say?
I don't know what.
Why the wide face? If you don't shoot anamorphic, you won't get it.
It's an anamorphic joke.